Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast. It's absolutely a fantastic day here on the Gold Coast. It's early in the morning and it's a beautiful autumn day here, or for those of you that are in the Northern Hemisphere, fall it is here in Australia. And it's a magical time of the year. The weather's sort of very balmy and pleasant, still warm enough to go to the beach, but not too hot to sleep and all those sort of things. So today I really want to just take this little brief moment to thank everybody that's been with me now for the last 2 years. This is my second big birthday bash here on A1R Psychic Radio. I've been here 2 years today. And it's absolutely fantastic to be able to sort of bring this opportunity to everybody around the world on a weekly basis. And we have so many amazing psychics, healers, astrologers, numerologists, and the list goes on here at A1R Psychic Radio. I'm really feel very privileged and very humbled to be part of this amazing team that brings these amazing shows week after week. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get down to Tarot Card of the Week. And this week it's an interesting card because it's the card of the Eight of Pentacles. Now, the Eight of Pentacles is the card of work. And people sort of look at me and say, oh, well, I don't really need a card to tell me to go to work, but it's the work that we may need to put into anything. It could be a work on a relationship. It could be working on a project. It could be working on getting to the bottom of your ironing basket. It's whatever you need to apply some extra effort and energy to. The secondary meaning of this card is obviously paid work, or work that we get money for, or receive some sort of payment for. So it's not always about rolling your sleeves up and going to the day job. It's about rolling your sleeves up and getting on with life, the issues and the situations that may need to be looked at in life. So, okay, so moving along with the show, I want to first off this week, I want to take a little trip around the universe first. Normally we leave that till a little bit later in the show, but I really want to be very, very clear for any of the new viewers that are with us this week for the very first time, welcome. I do a little astrology segment here each week, and this week I want to focus on Mercury, the planet of communication. Now, Mercury is the planet of communication, but it also can be seen as the practical joker planet. It's somebody that sort of likes to do anything that sort of catches us a little bit off guard. It can misconstrue our communication. Now, a number of astrologers have already written up, as I've seen on social media, that Mercury is actually retrograde already, but Mercury has not actually literally gone retrograde yet. Mercury is in a holding pattern at the moment. In a stationary position means he's not going forwards and not going backwards. He's just sitting stuck, waiting to go into the retrograde phase, which is March 9. So whatever day March 9 is around the globe, that day Mercury officially goes retrograde by my calculations and my astrology software. And I'm proud to say that I've used Halloran software out of Los Angeles for over 20 years. And I've always worked with John Halloran stuff. I think his is the best in the world. That's my personal opinion. And Mercury actually comes out of the retrograde on April 4. Now, there will be 2 or 3 days before April 4 where Mercury will be standing still before he actually turns to go direct again. Now, in all my years in astrology, do not believe until Mercury actually starts to edge forward do we say that officially the Mercury retrograde is over. Mercury retrograde happens three times a year. It's the time of the year when we're being asked to be very, very careful of our communication. Think before we speak. Maybe rehearse it 3 or 4 times in your mind before you open your mouth if it's something very important. It's the time when people don't have their listening ears on. They're very focused or self-centered on the issues and the situations that are going around in their mind. So they're not always really attentively listening to anything that you may have to say, even though it may be a very important conversation. It's not the time to have a conversation, in my opinion, on something that's life-changing. It's not the time to walk in and ask the boss for the raise because he may not give it to you, he may give you the sack instead. So just be very, very careful. If you do have to have some serious conversations during this time frame, be very careful, be very mindful of the fact, keep checking with the other person to make sure that they've fully understood the information that you're sharing with them. This is also a time when all our devices, if they're going to play up or get a virus or throw a tantrum, now's the time, and that includes mobile phones, cell phones, tablets, computers, laptops, anything electronic, even our new smart TVs and smart So be aware, this is the time when Mercury plays his little games without any form of communication. In the olden days, not that long ago, we used to say, be very careful about sending anything made through the post because it might just get lost. But it also affects things like airlines, getting on any form of transport. It's the time when trains break down or trains are late or buses are late or planes get delayed or computer systems shut down at airports and that delays flights. There's all different ways that Mercury influences our lives. So just be mindful of it. Mercury is in Pisces at the moment, and that also has another dimension to it because it's not just that people don't have their listening ears on. Sometimes people hear what they think they've heard, but then have created their own version of the truth or their own version of what you've shared with them, which not exactly be verbatim or factual. So again, I say to you, if it's an important conversation, stop periodically, double check, triple check that they fully understood, ask them to repeat the headlines back to you so that you both know that you're on the same page. And that way we can hopefully minimise the negative effects of Mercury retrograde. Now, on the positive Mercury retrograde, this is a time of the year where we're being asked to slow down a little bit and allow our thoughts to just wander, because Mercury is the planet of communication and ideas. This is the time when we can get those amazing light bulb moments where we can have some really major breakthroughs in thinking and getting answers or resolutions to our own situations, because we're not running around hither and dither and trying to convince people we need to do this or we need to do that. We've slowed everything down so we can allow some new thoughts and some new ideas to come into our minds. So enjoy your Mercury retrograde. I don't look at them in such a negative way anymore. I just sort of laugh them off in a sense, because I think, well, you can be as prepared as you can be for a Mercury retrograde. Always aware that I would not organise to sign any official or legal papers at this time unless I absolutely had to, and then I would make sure that I've more than triple checked them and got somebody else to check them as well 3 times before I'd sign. So, you know, you can learn to work with these energies. They don't have to be the vein of your life. Now, staying on the astrology theme, let's work with our famous actress for this week. And this week, I'm really excited to say it's a female, and it's a famous Libra actress, and there isn't a person on the planet that I don't think at some stage or another in their childhood was not affected by this woman in the most positive of ways. She's made some amazing movies, and, you know, so many of them are childhood favourites and go on to be, you know, leave a nice little glow in our thought bubbles when we become adults, when we hear the names of these movies, and we quite often sit down and use the excuse, I'm going to watch them with the children or the grandchildren. But truly in all, we're watching it because we want to take a trip down memory lane and we want to go back into that childlike stage of innocence and joy and happiness. I'm talking about the one and only Julie Andrews. And, you know, for those of you that don't know who Julie Andrews is, so I'm going to smack you on the wrist because you do know who Julie Andrews is, Mary Poppins. Now, I don't think there's a person on the planet that didn't watch that at some stage or another in their childhood and want to go off and live with Mary Poppins with her magic umbrella and a magic bag that was able to sort of make life just so magical and exciting and fun. And, you know, even though there was rules and regulations, there was always a hint of fun and joy and just gentleness there with Julie Andrews. And she was the perfect person for the role. There's another movie that I don't think there'd be a person on the planet hasn't seen this, and that's The Sound of Music. It's one of those classic movies that every age can sit down and watch together as a family and enjoy. And I think it's sad when we look at some of the movies that are being produced today where there really is no great storyline. There really is nothing there that's going to become a classic, that there's no great attention to detail. And, you know, we were able once upon a time to produce movies that didn't have violence and sex in them, that it left things up to the imagination and focused on values and family values. And that's what The Sound of Music did. It was one of those movies that I saw as a child on the big screen, and it was many, many years later before I got to watch it on video. I mean, you know, it shows my age. And it was still one of those movies as my children were growing up, every now and then I'd get it out and I'd use it as a teaching tool to sort of show them that how, you know, people had to get on and had to learn to work with each other, that, you know, that it's really important, even though your issues might be important, but it's also important to consider other people in the family or other people that are sort of close to you. So that leads me on to where we're going this week with the candle of the week, because we also have, this week we have the new moon in Pisces. There's an awful lot of energy in Pisces at the moment. We've got the sun's moved into Pisces. We've got the new moon in Pisces. We've got Mercury sitting in Pisces. So it's a very much a Piscean time of the year. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with how I like to work with the new moon, I like to work with the new moon in principle. I like to work with it in 2 days on the approach, 3 days of the actual moon cycle, because the actual moon cycle is 2.5 days. And then I like to work with 2 days on the decline. So the actual new moon this month is March 9. So wherever you are in the world, March 9 is the actual, no, beg your pardon, it's not March 9, it is the 6th, I beg your pardon. I've got the 9th on the brain because of Mercury. No, it's March 6th. So we would be actually working with the start of the new moon, and I've already started here in Australia, working with it 2 days before. Now, what I like to work with a new moon is I like to write a little list. I like to write a little list of at least 3 things. 3 things that I would like to attract or start or commence in my life. Now, look, that could be something as simple as I want to start getting more healthy. And, you know, that might mean many different things to many different people. And for some people that, you know, are sort of on the precipice of sort of looking at themselves and thinking, gee, I really need to do something. I need to make my body feel more energized. I'm feeling a bit tired. I don't like my body shape, whatever the case may be. I don't like diets. I think they're a restriction, but I do believe in you being as healthy as possible. And that might be one thing that you might want to put on the list. I want to attract some new ideas to make me more healthy. Someone else might say, look, I want to attract new ideas so that I can slow down a bit and not have to work as hard and be able to spend more quality time with the people that I love. Someone else might be liking to start a new business. Someone else might be wanting to find new ways of communicating. There's all different things that are new that you might be wanting to attract into your life. Now, it's not necessarily about 3 brand new things each month, and we have, 36 new things a year that we're trying to bring in. You can keep putting the same thing down on your list until it's actually manifested, until you've actually worked through it or attracted it to you. Sometimes things take more than a couple of weeks to attract in our lives. Like if we're working on the new you and becoming healthy, that might be something that might be on our list for 12 months, 18 months, because we're adding new layers all the time on new potential possibilities or things, or just really wanting to keep it fresh and exciting, that, creating the new you takes time. So, don't look at it as something, oh, gee, it's hard work, I've got to think of 3 new things each month. It's not that. It's sort of we can keep the same things until they're completed or we're pretty certain that they're, well on their way, and then we might put that towards the bottom of the list and put something else towards the top. I always like things in balance, and I like to release 3 things at the same time, and that just might be releasing old emotions, old anxieties. It could be releasing old habit patterns. It could be the final release of yippee doodle dandy off my credit card. There's lots of things that we can be sort of releasing. So we're going to write 2 lists. And the reasons why we're going to write 2 lists, because if we're going to work with the candles, we'll need 2 lists. So we write the 2 lists out, we read them out aloud, we get ready to pop them underneath the candle. Now, this candle I've got here is the Pisces candle. So I would be lighting my Pisces candle from 15 minutes to 2 hours per day for that 7-day stint. So that would be 2 days before, which is the 4th, through, 4th and 5th, and then 6, 7, 8 of the new moon, and then 9, 10, the wind down of the new moon. I'd be lighting the candle. These candles have 2 wicks, so I'd light one side one day, one side the next day. That just gives you a longer burn time. Placing your candle on top of your list, and on top, underneath that, we're going to place that on a coaster, never putting a candle onto furniture so that we don't scorch it. The glass container does get hot. The actual soy wax doesn't get hot, but the glass candle does get hot, so we don't want to scorch the furniture. So we'd be burning that for 15 minutes to 2 hours per day. With our second list, we would be lighting our new moon candle. Again, same principles apply, popping it underneath your coaster, the 2 wick systems. So we're just lighting that with our extra large candles. You'll get approximately about 100 hours out of the burn time on those. So that just sort of gives you something to work with in that instance. Now, you might say to me, Amanda, that's terrific, but I don't have all that much space. Is there any other alternative? Yes, well, there is. We make up a gift box set of mini candles. These burn for approximately 15 hours each. This week I've made it up with 2 water sign candles and a new moon in the middle. You can ship any combination that you like out of the 28 candles in our range, so that gives you a fair diversity there of what you're looking for. And we can offer free postage here in Australia, but for our overseas family, we have a new cheaper postage rate that we offer a flat fee anywhere in the world, and it's been reduced by 40%, so I'm pretty excited about that. So for those of you that don't want to work with a candle, can I suggest that you pick up a melt warmer? Now, you can pick these up at your variety stores, local supermarket. Here in Australia, they retail around about the $15 mark. I actually like these because you're not working with a flame. You plug these into the electricity, you turn a little button on. So you're doing the same process. You're writing your list out, you're reading it out aloud, popping it underneath the melt warmer, putting the melt warmer on a coaster as we do with the glass container. This is a good habit to get into. You turn on the melt warmer and you can leave this going all day while you're at home or you're at work. So this is a much safer alternative. So how you start your melt warmer off is 1 teaspoon each of the soy waxes for the week, and then adding a half a teaspoon per day. The end of the week, pop the little tray into the freezer for a couple of moments. The soy wax to go hard, you can get a plastic knife underneath it and lift the wax out, then wash it up in warm soapy water, let it dry to room temperature, and then you're ready to use it again. So that's how we work with candles. So I hope that sort of helped you understand how to work with the new moon. Now, what does the new moon mean very quickly? The new moon is about attracting new things to us in our lives. Because it's in the Pisces energy, we need to be aware that it's going to be emotional. We also need to be aware it may bring up a lot of old emotions because it's the 12th sign of the zodiac, which means that we bring up the things that we've been holding on to for a long time, and it's time now for us to be able to release them. It can be a very creative time. It can be a time when you want to be around creative and gentle souls, where you want to listen to more music or lose yourself in a lovely romantic comedy, movie, things like that. So just be kind to yourselves during this time while we're working with Mercury retrograde and the new moon in Pisces. Now, we're going to take our first caller, which is Tori in Plymouth in Wisconsin in the USA. Are you there, Tori?
Yes.
Hi, Tori.
I'm here.
How can I help you, sweetie? Do you have a question for me?
Yes.
Do you have a question?
My cousin Stephen passed away in September of 2018, and nobody will say why or how he passed away. I was wondering if you might be able to help me.
Okay, first and foremost, that's sort of, a fairly complex question, Tony, that it would take time to try and connect with your cousin. What I can say to you, the only thing that he's sharing with is that I don't even think that he's aware of exactly the whole details around what sort of happened. He's showing me 2 question marks. So I'm taking from that there's still 2 question marks that need to be answered. There's still 2 situations there or 2 things that need to be resolved before anybody else will talk to you about what happened. So was it the whole family that's claiming not giving you any information?
Well, I don't know how to explain it, but it could be a drug overdose or something with a girl that he was seeing, her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but what he's sharing with me is that he doesn't even know himself. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's still in a state of mystery himself. So if he doesn't know, if he wasn't sort of coherent at the time of his passing to know what caused his passing, until such times as relevant investigations have been handled and sort of, decisions have been brought down, or they suspect or decide this is how, they're going to write it up on the death certificate that this was the findings of an inquest or an investigation, he's not going to be able to share with me because he doesn't know. That's what the energy that he's sharing with me is he doesn't know himself. So it's not yes, it could have been a drug overdose, yes, it could have been a lot of things, but what I kept coming back to and what he kept sort of telling me was wasn't well, but he doesn't know whether that's what caused his passing or not. He just keeps telling me he wasn't physically well at the time. So I still think answers to come out. He still keeps showing me these 2 question marks, and I'm still going to take that as 2 separate questions that need to be answered, not 2 separate people. I'm going to take that as 2 things that are going to be uncovered, and they will be, and then I think everybody will get peace and closure. I mean, I have a feeling that he wasn't destined to be on this earth very long anyway, because I feel that there was an underlying health issue there.
Okay. And then I heard you talking about astrology.
Right.
My question is, anything, well, my name's Tori Mason, and, well, 2018 was a rough year for me, and there's been lots of changes and things like that. Anything that you might be picking up for me about this new year, and anything that maybe I need to be aware of, or maybe that, you know, a message for me about maybe something
I just need to feel for the moment. Okay. Look, for the moment, I think you just need to sit. I don't think you need to be trying to bring in anything new yet. They're not showing me your 2019 really starting to June, so it's a matter of just taking your time until then and allowing things to sort of come to you. Don't be in too much of a hurry to try and sort things out. It's sort of like the more you're pushing, the actual longer that you're sort of delaying things. So I just want you to sort of learn to relax and go with the flow, and then you'll find life will slowly start to turn around and become a much more improved situation than what it is. So just, you know, be aware of that. Don't be in too much of a hurry. It's a good situation to sort of, because I think you can allow yourself this luxury of time to just take your time. I don't think that you've actually really had much time to really sort of just sit with yourself and sort of allow yourself to sort of let your mind wander in and out. You've sort of been racing from one situation to another, and then with the death of your cousin, that threw the whole family in turmoil. So there's been a lot of things there that, you know, you haven't even had time to catch up on yet, Tori. So are you looking for another job?
That's on my mind, but yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, they were showing me another job. They were showing me another, so I'm going to get from what they were showing me. By the middle of this year, you will be seriously looking for another job because you feel that's the right thing to be doing.
Okay. All right. Well,
that's good though, because that to me means it's.
I can't hear you right now, but thank you.
Okay, sweetie. Lovely to talk with you, Tori, and I wish you the best of luck trying to resolve the mystery of your cousin's death. That's a really big thing that the whole family's had to deal with. And, you know, we'll keep you in our prayers here at A1R Psychic Radio. So for those of you that have lost someone, it's not always about being able to connect with the other side and get the answers that we feel here as human beings left behind that we deserve. Sometimes the answer is there is no answers, or sometimes people don't even understand or even know exactly themselves how they've crossed over. And that's not always the case in sort of suicides or murders or unforeseen sort of events. It's just sometimes that's the way it is. I mean, you know, personally, none of us here on Earth can really talk firsthand at what it's like to cross over to the other side, because fortunately or unfortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, we don't have that memory recall. I firmly do believe in reincarnation, and I believe most of us have been here before and most of us will be coming back again. But we need to come back into this lifetime in a way that we live this lifetime, that we don't come back here with all the answers of what happens after we pass over. There's many people that do work with connecting with the other side, and people do find a great comfort in finding those answers. And I do apologise, they've been tickling my face all morning this morning. That's the Spirit's way of having a little bit of fun and games with Mercury looming. But it's not always about, you know, is there a right or a wrong answer? And many times I work with people that have that sort of question, that there's unanswered questions around someone's passing, and they don't believe that they're going to be able to get closure unless they have all those answers. And sometimes the answer is there is no answer, or it's something that we'll never know a definite answer for. So we have to look at each individual situation for what it is and try and find some sort of peace, some sort of closure, some sort of way of us dealing with our grief in a way that fits comfortably with us. There is no one size that fits all. And I can only say to you, we all get touched by grief at some stage or another in our life, and we all handle it differently, and there is no right or wrong way. So for each and every one who's experiencing that at the moment, just allow yourself to be yourself. Don't try and fit into someone else's mould, and take your time. Grief doesn't have a set timetable. Grief takes as long as it takes. And it's something that I feel that we find a way to live with it. We don't ever get over grief. We find a way to live with it and to move on and find joy back in our lives again. So on next week's show, we'll be moving into sort of, the Piscean era. Obviously, we'll be talking about our famous person of the week. We'll also have our Simply Tarot card of the week, and we'll have our candle of the week. Until next week, I hope you stay safe wherever you are in this world of ours, with all these weather events that are taking place again. It seems to be every week we're sort of, talking about weather events. Here in Australia, we've got massive bushfires now. We had floods a couple of weeks ago, now we've got fires. So wherever you are in this world of ours, please stay safe, be kind to each other, and we'll see you all again next week. Bye for now.